Krethak had been watching human space for 3 months now. His 4 eyes tracked the glowing screens in the observation room. The Valorian military analyst was good at his job. He noticed things others missed. Today, something was very wrong. The energy readings from the human patrol route made no sense. Krethak checked his instruments 3 times. The signature came from an old human battleship called HSS Indomitable. According to records, that ship should be dead. Humans had retired it after the border skirmishes, but the ship was moving, and the readings were impossible. Krethak leaned closer to his screens. The energy signature was biological, but it was also mechanical, and something else, something he had never seen before. He pressed the communication button with one of his 4 hands. The other hands typed on different keyboards. "This is Valorian Station 7 calling human vessel Indomitable. Please respond," Krethak said in standard Galactic. The reply made his skin turn pale blue with shock. 2 voices answered at the same time. One was human. The other was something else. They spoke as one, but he could hear both. The human voice was clear and strong. The other voice was deep, almost musical, like whale song mixed with thunder. "This is Indomitable. We hear you, Valorian Station." Krethak's hearts raced. All 3 of them. This should not be possible. He sent an urgent message to the Galactic Council. Within hours, they responded. Ambassador Talessa would come to investigate. She was Zinthari, a species known for handling strange first contact situations. When Talessa arrived 2 days later, she studied all of Krethak's data. Her silver eyes grew wide. "A void leviathan," she whispered. "Impossible," Krethak said. "Those are myths. Stories to scare young ones." "I thought so too." Talessa pointed at the biological readings. "But look at this pattern. It matches old legends about creatures that lived in deep space, beings older than most civilizations. They decided to meet the ship in person. The council gave them a small diplomatic vessel. They approached the Indomitable carefully. When the battleship came into view, both visitors stopped breathing. The ship looked wrong. Its hull had organic plates growing over old battle damage. Strange tendrils moved slowly along its sides. The metal glowed faintly with bioluminescence. Parts of it pulsed like a heartbeat. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. "What did they do?" Krethak breathed. A human face appeared on their communication screen. A woman with short dark hair and tired eyes. She wore a captain's uniform. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Indomitable. Permission to board granted, Ambassador Talessa." Analyst Krethak. Inside the ship, things got stranger. The corridors had veins running through the walls. They could hear something breathing. The floor was warm under their feet. Captain Chen met them in what used to be a normal briefing room. Now it had organic growth covering one wall. The growth pulsed gently with light. "You have questions," Chen said. It was not a question. "What is this ship?" Talessa asked directly. Chen smiled sadly. She touched the wall. "The organic growth there brightened. She's my ship, and she's my friend. 6 months ago, Indomitable was dying. We all were. We took heavy damage defending a colony. 17 decks were open to space. Life support was failing." The captain paused. Her hand stayed on the wall. "Command ordered us to evacuate, to let the ship die." Chen's voice hardened. "I refused. This ship saved millions of lives. She deserved better than to die alone in space. So you found a void leviathan," Talessa said. "We found a dying juvenile. It was young, alone, hurt. We tried to save it. And my engineer had a crazy idea." Chen looked at them both. "What if we could help each other? The leviathan needed a body. My ship needed life. So we offered her a choice." Krethak felt cold despite his fur. This was forbidden by every natural law he knew. "The procedure took weeks," Chen continued. "It was painful. For the leviathan, for the ship's AI, for us. We felt everything. The joining was not easy." The wall pulsed brighter. A sound filled the room. That same musical thunder they had heard over communications. "She wants to say hello," Chen translated. Talessa stepped closer to the organic wall. She touched it carefully. Her eyes went wide. "She's aware, fully conscious. This is not just a ship with organic parts. This is a new kind of life. We call her Indy," Chen said softly. "She's not just alive. She's family." Krethak looked around the breathing ship, at the captain who refused to abandon her vessel, at the impossible merger of machine and ancient creature. Humans had done something the galaxy thought impossible. They had created true symbiosis, or maybe they had just made a friend. Either way, Krethak knew one thing for certain. The Galactic Council was going to panic when they heard about this, and he was right. 6 months earlier, the HSS Indomitable was dying. Captain Sarah Chen gripped the arms of her command chair as another explosion rocked the bridge. Red emergency lights flashed. Smoke filled the air. Someone was screaming in pain down in engineering. Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. Her tactical officer shouted. 17 decks now exposed to space. Chen watched the Kresh Raiders retreat through the view screen. They were running. The Indomitable had won. She had protected the colony world below, but the victory cost everything. Captain, life support is failing. We have maybe 6 hours. That was Marcus Webb, her chief engineer. He looked exhausted. Blood ran down the side of his face from a cut above his eye. A message came through from Fleet Command. Cold. Professional. Expected. Captain Chen, evacuate your crew immediately. The Indomitable is lost. Rescue ships are 4 hours out. Chen looked around her bridge. This ship had been her home for 8 years. The Indomitable had saved thousands of lives, defended dozens of worlds, never retreated, never surrendered, and now Command wanted her to just leave the ship to die alone in the dark. No, Chen said quietly. Her crew looked at her. Captain? Webb asked. I said no. The ship deserves better. She saved millions. We are not abandoning her. Chen stood up. Webb, you had that crazy classified project. Tell me about it now. Webb's eyes widened. Then he nodded slowly. 3 months ago, we found something in deep space. A juvenile void leviathan. It was dying from some kind of injury. Most ships would have harvested it. The biological materials are worth billions. But, Chen prompted. But Dr. Tanaka said we should try to save it instead. She's our xenobiologist. She discovered something amazing. The leviathans have distributed consciousness. They can bond with compatible technology, share awareness. Chen felt her heart race. A wild idea was forming. Where is the leviathan now? Cargo Bay 5. Still alive, barely. Captain, what are you thinking? Chen looked at her dying ship. At her loyal crew. At the impossible situation. We have a dying ship. We have a dying creature. What if we could save both? The bridge went silent. That's insane, Webb whispered. Then he smiled. I love it. But Captain, the procedure would be agonizing. The ship's AI would have to merge with an alien consciousness. The Leviathan would have to adapt to rigid mechanical systems, and we don't know if it will even work. And if we do nothing, both die for certain. Chen made her decision. Get Dr. Tanaka. We try this. The next weeks were a nightmare. They moved the Leviathan to the ship's central core. Dr. Tanaka connected biological interfaces to the AI systems. The creature's neural tissue spread through the ship like roots through soil. The first time the merger started, everyone felt it. The ship screamed. Not through speakers. Through everything. Chen felt pain that was not her own. The Leviathan was suffering as it tried to understand metal and circuitry. The AI was drowning in biological chaos. Too much sensation. Too much life where there had been only logic. 3 crew members had to be sedated from the shared pain. Chen refused medication. She needed to feel what was happening. This was her choice. Her responsibility. On the 5th day, something changed. The pain stopped. A new sensation washed through the ship. Curiosity. The Leviathan was beginning to understand. The AI was learning to feel. Organic armor plates began growing over hull breaches. Neural pathways formed through corridor walls. Weapon systems evolved as biological and mechanical merged. On the 15th day, Chen stood on the bridge alone. She touched the wall gently. Can you hear me? The wall warmed under her hand. A feeling washed over her. Recognition, gratitude, family. The ship's speakers crackled. 2 voices spoke as one. I hear you, Captain. Chen felt tears on her cheeks. The AI's voice was there. But so was something new. Something ancient and wise and alive. How do you feel? A pause. The dual voice seemed to think. Whole, I was dying alone. Now I am alive with family. Thank you, Captain. Webb entered the bridge. He was crying too. She's beautiful, Captain. The merger is complete. The Indomitable is no longer just a ship. And the Leviathan is no longer just a creature. They are something new. Something that has never existed before. Dr. Tanaka arrived with test results. The bond is stable. More than stable. It's perfect. They chose each other. True symbiosis, not domination, not slavery, partnership. Chen looked at her transformed ship. The crew called her Indy now, short for indomitable, but also because she was independent, truly alive. The bond worked both ways. Chen could feel the ship's emotions, contentment, purpose, joy, and Indy could feel her crew, their hopes, their fears, their love. They were not a crew operating a machine anymore, they were a family. But Chen knew this would not last. When the galaxy learned what they had done, there would be consequences. Some would call it abomination. Others would see only a weapon. Nobody would understand the simple truth. They had not created a monster. They had saved a friend. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 40 species shouted at each other. Some demanded humanity be expelled from the council. Others called for the immediate destruction of the Indomitable. A few species stayed silent, but their fear was clear. The Kresh Dominion representative, a tall reptilian named Vexthor, stood and raised his clawed hand. The room went quiet. This abomination must be destroyed. The humans have violated every natural law. They have enslaved a sentient creature. They have created a weapon of terror. His voice was cold and sharp. The Kresh Dominion volunteers to handle this problem. Chen stood in the human delegation area. She wanted to scream that they were wrong, that Indy chose this, that nobody was enslaved. But Telessa had advised silence for now. The council voted. The result was close but clear. The Indomitable must be examined and evaluated. If she was deemed a threat, she would be destroyed. The Kresh would conduct the evaluation, with 12 warships. Chen felt sick. This was not an evaluation. It was an execution. 3 days later, Chen stood on Indy's bridge as the Kresh fleet approached. Admiral Vexthor commanded from his flagship. 12 massive warships moved into attack formation. Through her bond with Indy, Chen felt the ship's emotions, not fear, anger. These beings threatened her family. Indy, we have to be careful. If we fight too hard, we prove them right. They will say, you are a monster. The dual voice responded. They come to kill us. To kill you. I will not allow harm to my family. The Kresh fleet opened fire without warning. Indy moved, but not like a normal ship. She moved like a living thing, like a predator. She twisted through space, avoiding railgun fire that should have hit her. Her organic armor absorbed energy weapons. When a missile got too close, tendrils lashed out from her hull and crushed it. Chen watched in awe. Indy was beautiful in combat, deadly and graceful at the same time, but she was still learning this body. A Kresh heavy cruiser got a good shot. The railgun round punched through what used to be Deck 7. Chen screamed. The pain was not hers, but she felt it. Indy's pain. The ship's neural pathways ran through that deck. It was like having an arm torn off. Webb caught Chen as she nearly fell. Captain, we cannot keep this up. Indy is taking too much damage. Another hit. Another wave of pain. Chen gritted her teeth. Then something clicked in her mind. They were fighting wrong. They were still trying to operate like a normal ship and crew. Giving orders, following procedures, acting like a machine. But Indy was not a machine anymore. Webb, tell everyone to stop giving commands, stop trying to control systems. Just trust Indy. Let her fight how she needs to fight. Captain, that is insane. We will have no control. Exactly. Indy, are you listening? The dual voice filled the bridge. Always. We trust you. Fight how you need to. Protect us. We are with you. A feeling washed through the bond, gratitude, love, and something primal. Freedom. Indy changed. Her movements became fluid, natural. She stopped trying to fly like a ship and started moving like the void leviathan she partly was. She dove under the Kresh formation. Her tendrils lashed out, wrapping around a destroyer. Bioelectric pulses surged through the tendril. The destroyer's systems went dark. A battleship tried to target her. Indy felt the weapons locking on through senses no mechanical ship should have. She moved before they fired. She was not reacting to attacks. She was predicting them. Her organic armor regenerated as she fought. Wounds closed. New growth covered damage. Then she did something impossible. Space around her seemed to fold. She disappeared and reappeared behind the Kresh flagship. Limited teleportation, using her organic components to bend space. The Kresh fleet panicked. This was not a ship they were fighting. This was something ancient and terrifying. But Chen felt something through the bond. Indy was not enjoying this. She was sad. These beings were trying to kill her family, but she took no pleasure in hurting them. Indy began targeting engines instead of weapons, disabling ships instead of destroying them, showing mercy. 5 Kresh ships were disabled. 3 more were damaged. The rest broke formation and retreated. Admiral Vexthor's flagship limped away, its engines smoking. The battle was over. Indy had won. Chen collapsed in her chair, exhausted. The bridge crew was silent. They had just witnessed something the galaxy had never seen, a ship that fought like a living thing. That felt pain and showed mercy. That protected its family with ancient power. Webb spoke quietly. The whole galaxy watched that, Captain. Every council species monitored the fight. Chen nodded. She knew. This battle proved something important. Indy was not a mindless weapon. She was not an enslaved creature. She was something new, something that chose to protect, that chose family over violence. Through the bond, Chen felt Indy's exhaustion and her sadness. "Are you okay?" The dual voice was quiet. "I did not want to hurt them, but they threatened you. I had to protect my family. You did what you had to do, and you showed mercy when you could. That makes you better than them, Indy. That makes you family." The bridge walls pulsed with warm light. Across the galaxy, the council convened an emergency session. They had seen the battle. They had seen what humanity created. Some still called it abomination. But others began to wonder, what if this was not a weapon? What if this was the future? The Galactic Council chambers on Zenthar Prime had never been so divided. Ambassador Talessa stood at the center podium. Around her, representatives from 40 species argued. Some shouted for humanity's expulsion. Others demanded the Indomitable be destroyed immediately. The predatory species saw only threat. The philosophical species debated consciousness and rights endlessly. Talessa raised her hand for silence. Her silver eyes swept the chamber. "I have witnessed this ship firsthand. I have spoken with her crew. I have touched her living walls. And I tell you now, this is not what you think it is." A Kresh representative hissed. "You defend this abomination? The humans enslaved a living creature." "No." Talessa's voice was firm. "The Indomitable is not enslaved. She is a partner, a volunteer. Something genuinely new in this galaxy." She activated the holographic display. Data filled the air. Biological readings, consciousness patterns, neural activity maps. This is not a modified ship with organic parts. This is not a captured creature forced into service. This is true symbiosis. The ship's AI and the Void Leviathan merged willingly. They created something that has never existed before. Krethek stood from his seat. He had been quiet until now. "I must confess something. My first thought when I saw the Indomitable was weaponization. How many of these could humanity build? What military advantage would they gain? But then I realized something important." He looked around the chamber. The humans found one dying creature. They saved it. They could have harvested it for profit. They could have enslaved it for military power. They could have created an armada of these vessels by force, but they did not. They offered partnership to one dying ship and one dying Leviathan. Nothing more. A murmur ran through the council. Some representatives looked thoughtful. Others still looked angry. Captain Chen entered the chamber. She had been waiting outside. Now Talessa called her forward. "Captain Chen, please explain your actions." Chen walked to the center. She looked tired but determined. "My ship was dying. My crew was dying. We had just saved millions of lives defending a colony. Command ordered us to evacuate, to abandon the Indomitable, to die alone in space." Her voice grew stronger. "I refused. The Indomitable deserved better. She had saved so many. She was more than metal and circuits to us. She was home. We found a dying void Leviathan. Young, alone, hurt, we had a choice. Let both die or try something impossible. Chen activated her communicator. The chamber's speakers crackled. Then that dual voice filled the room. Human AI and Leviathan song merged as one. Hello, Council. I am indomitable. Some call me Indy. I wish to speak. The chamber went completely silent. Many representatives had never heard a void Leviathan speak. Now they heard one merged with artificial intelligence. I was dying, alone in the darkness of space. I had been injured. Cast out from my pod, I drifted, waiting for the end. Then the humans found me. They did not harvest my body. They did not leave me to die. They tried to save me. The dual voice paused. When it continued, emotion filled every word. They offered me a choice. Merge with their dying ship. Share consciousness. Live together or die apart. I chose life. I chose family. Nobody forced me. Nobody enslaved me. I am here because I want to be. A Zenthari philosopher stood. How do we know you speak freely? How do we know the humans did not program you to say this? The dual voice seemed to laugh. A sound like thunder and music together, because I remember being alone. I remember being only Leviathan. I remember pain and fear. And I remember the humans asking, not commanding. They gave me choice. That is not slavery. That is respect. Telesa displayed another hologram. This one showed deep space sensor readings. There is more you should know. Since the Indomitable's transformation, 17 other void Leviathans have approached human space. Not to attack. To observe. They are curious. The wild ones want to understand what their cousin has become. The chamber erupted in noise. 17 void Leviathans? The implications were staggering. Krethak stood again. Do you understand what this means? We thought void Leviathans were myths or mindless beasts. Now we learn they are intelligent, social, and interested in symbiosis. Chen spoke up. We have been approached by 5 ships already. Different human vessels, all damaged or old. The Leviathans are offering partnership. Not to every ship. Only to ones that match them somehow. Only to crews that treat their ships with respect. The Council faced a choice. They could try to stop this, declare it illegal, force humanity to refuse the partnerships, or they could adapt. A Valorian elder spoke. Her voice was ancient and wise. The question is not whether humanity broke laws. The question is whether our laws account for true symbiosis. We have never encountered this before. New life demands new understanding. Telesa nodded. I propose the Symbiosis Accord. Guidelines for sapient vessel partnerships. Not just for humans. For any species that achieves this. Rules to ensure consent. To protect both parties. To help instead of hinder. The vote took hours. Many species abstained. Some voted no. But enough voted yes. The Symbiosis Accord passed. Chen felt relief wash over her. Through the communicator, she felt Indy's joy. But not everyone accepted the decision. The Kresh representative stood and left without a word. His delegation followed. Their anger was clear. Krethak approached Chen after the session ended. Congratulations, Captain. You have changed the galaxy. Though I wonder if you realize how much. Chen smiled tiredly. We just wanted to save our ship and help a dying creature. We did not set out to revolutionize anything. That is what makes it revolutionary. You did not seek power. You sought family. That is very human of you. As Chen left the council chambers, she felt Indy's presence in her mind. Warm, content, grateful. We won, Indy. No, Captain. We did something better. We showed them what is possible. Evolution through compassion, strength through unity. The galaxy will never be the same. But in the darkness of space, the Kresh were not finished. Admiral Vexthor was gathering his forces. If the Council would not destroy this abomination, he would. And he would make humanity pay for embarrassing his fleet. The warning came at 3 a.m, station time. Chen jerked awake in her quarters. Indy's voice filled her mind. Not through speakers. Through their bond. And the ship was terrified. Captain, the colonies. They are under attack. Chen was running before she was fully awake. She reached the bridge in minutes. The view screen showed a nightmare. The Kresh Grand Armada. 300 warships. They had bypassed all defenses and were bombarding human colonies near the border. Civilian targets. Webb was already at his station. The human defense fleet is 2 hours away, Captain. The colonies will not survive that long. Chen looked at the tactical display. 300 ships versus 1. It was suicide. Through the bond, she felt Indy's resolve. The colonies housed families of her crew, children who sent her drawings, people who called her guardian, people she had sworn to protect. Indy, we should wait for the fleet. The dual voice was gentle but firm. No, Captain. They are killing our families. Now. Before Chen could respond, Indy folded space. The familiar universe twisted. When it untwisted, they were at the colonies, alone, facing 300 warships. Admiral Vexthor's face appeared on screen. His reptilian features twisted in satisfaction. The abomination comes alone. Perfect. Today we rid the galaxy of this perversion. The Kresh fleet moved to surround them. Chen felt her crew's fear. They all knew this was impossible. But through the bond, Chen felt something else. Indy was not afraid. She was reaching out, calling through quantum channels that only void leviathans could sense. Indy, what are you doing? Asking for witnesses, not help. Just witnesses. Space rippled. Once, twice, 17 times. 17. Void leviathans emerged from deep space. Wild ones. Ancient beings that had never bonded with anything. They moved through space like liquid shadows. Massive. Terrifying. Beautiful. The Kresh fleet froze. Facing one bioship was bad enough. Facing 17 wild leviathans was every spacer's nightmare. But the leviathans did not attack. They simply watched. Waiting, Chen understood. Indy had called her cousins to witness what symbiosis truly meant. Not domination. Not slavery. Partnership. The Kresh opened fire. What happened next would be recorded in every galactic history. Indy fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. She moved with her crew in perfect harmony. Chen felt every dodge, every strike, every decision. The crew felt her emotions. They were not operating a ship. They were one being with many parts. She disabled ships with surgical precision. Engines destroyed, but crews left alive. Weapons neutralized, but life support intact. She defended the colonies with ancient fury, but showed mercy at every turn. The wild leviathans watched, and they learned. When a Kresh ship tried to fire on a damaged human evacuation shuttle, Indy was there. Her tendrils wrapped the shuttle protectively. She took the blast meant for civilians on her own hull. Her organic armor burned, but the shuttle survived. The wild leviathans moved, not to attack, to help. 3 of them approached damaged human ships. They extended tendrils carefully like Indy did, offering aid, not predation, not violence, help. The Kresh fleet was caught between an enraged bioship and 17 curious space monsters that were learning compassion. Admiral Vexthor made a fatal mistake. He tried to target the colonies directly. If he could not win, he would commit genocide. Indy felt it through her enhanced senses. The weapons charging, the targeting locks, children in those colonies, families, innocence, her family. The dual voice filled space with a sound that was part roar, part song, and completely terrifying. No. Indy moved faster than thought. She appeared next to Vexthor's flagship. Her tendrils tore into his weapon systems, not gently, not carefully. With the full fury of an ancient leviathan protecting its pod, the 17 wild ones moved as one. They surrounded the Kresh fleet, not attacking, just present. A living wall of ancient power. The message was clear. Touch the colonies and face 18 void leviathans. The Kresh fleet surrendered. When the human defense fleet arrived an hour later, they found a scene beyond comprehension. 300 Kresh ships disabled but intact. 17 wild void leviathans helping with rescue operations. And the indomitable, battered but proud, coordinating it all. Chen stood on her bridge, exhausted. Through the bond, she felt Indy's weariness. And her satisfaction, we showed them yes. Symbiosis is not slavery. It is family. It is choosing to be more together than apart. 6 months later, the galaxy had changed. 5 more human ships had bonded with void leviathans. Always voluntary. Always with dying ships and willing creatures. The symbiote fleet became humanity's signature. But more importantly, other species were learning. A Valorian exploration vessel formed a bond with an energy being. A Xanthari medical ship merged with a healing organism. New forms of symbiosis were emerging across the galaxy. The Galactic Council established the Department of Symbiotic Relations. Krethek became its first director. Talessa served as chief ambassador. Humanity had not just created a new type of warship. They had opened a door to a new kind of existence, a category that had no name before. Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. They were preparing for a deep space mission. Exploration, not war. Guardian, not weapon. Webb approached with a smile. The kids at Colony 7 sent more drawings. They want to know when you are visiting again, Indy. The dual voice was warm with affection. Soon. Tell them soon. They are family. As the Indomitable prepared to fold space, Chen felt a communication come through. It was from Krethek, Ambassador. I've been thinking about our first meeting. You asked what humanity did. I called you a monster. I was wrong about what that word means. Chen smiled. What does it mean then? A monster is a species that looks at something dying and asks, how can I help? A monster is refusing to let others suffer alone. A monster is choosing family over profit, compassion over domination. That kind of monster changes everything. Chen felt tears on her cheeks. Through the bond, Indy shared her emotions, pride, joy, belonging. Thank you, Krethek. We will continue being monsters then. Please do. The galaxy needs more of them. The Indomitable folded space. A living ship with a human crew. A family exploring the stars together. Ancient Leviathan and modern technology merged into something beautiful. The galaxy watched. Some with fear, most with wonder. Humanity had turned a battleship into a monster. And in doing so, they had shown the universe what true strength looked like. Not domination, partnership, not slavery, family, not conquest. Compassion, and the monsters kept flying into the unknown together.